Okay. Yeah. So shall we start now? Anthony, I can see some message there, but I am not able to see the name. It's saying waiting for name.
Yes, I'm seeing the
Okay.
same thing here. Can you just put out your name?
Okay, it's Alekya. I got it. Okay, Alekya, I'll be giving you another installed box so that you can, do hands-on on that today. Okay. Now, see, objective of today's session is to, be efficient in using the tools which are there. Okay. We'll be using the tools which are there that helps us to, develop different processes, which includes different components of BPM. Okay. So that's what is the objective. So before we start, I'll be going through different ways of creating process, how actually, process can be binded with data, what all different data sources can be there, what all different type of tasks are there, right? With a bit of case study, I mean to say, so that you can understand scenarios where, JBPM can be used. That's what is the objective, right? So there are two parts of anything we all know. One is process, and process needs data, because basic objective of process is to bring in transformation, right? To filter, right? And to ensure that whatever is the expected output, that is what actually you get after executing a number of business processes on it, or a number of business activities on it, right? So that's is what is core objective of today. So three different ways of creating. I left it here. There are three different ways of creating. One is, we can go and we can create using editor, which comes along with your Eclipse. And second is you can use XML. And third approach is you can even write Java. You can use code using different DSLs in order to build the flow, right? And later there was something introduced which actually made you capable of building your business processes on web, right? And that is what was called as KIE, which stands for knowledge is everything, right? So we'll be using all these different tools in order to ensure that we are able to work in all different environments. Specification is what was written, and basic objective of specification is to ensure that portability can be brought when it comes to a common business language. Okay, so we need a common business language so that all business analysts can speak the same language, developers can understand the same language, whoever is writing business flow or whoever is using business flow, they have a common understanding about that particular tool. So whatever tools are being derived today, they are being derived using specifications, and BPMN 2.0 is the specification that is used by not only process server understands, but also Oracle SOA suite, or for that matter various other tools like JBPM also understands that particular language. And it contains 3 different type of nodes. One is events. There are different type of events, activities, and gateways, right? So whenever we talk about selecting the path, we'll be talking about taking a gateway as an component. Whenever we talk about action, that there should be execution of a web service, or there should be execution of a script, or there should be execution of a rule, right? All those things will come under activities, fine. And then comes events, which need to be fired, which need to be tracked, depending on type of business action you are taking up. This is what is basic objective or basic process modeling that actually is followed. So if you see, organizational analysis is what you will be doing. This process modeling is called as is process model. Then a thorough analysis will be done on that particular process, and you will come up with blueprint of your processes. Fine. In order to ensure that you are selecting the right model, you will be doing process evaluation, and whatever improvements can be brought in, that improvement is what actually you will be doing. This is a continuous activity that goes on, because whenever there is change in business, probably that may have impact over actions as well, right? So in order to ensure that those changes which are happening in business environment are quickly adapted in your business flows, you will be going through process of evaluating your process and probably looking for what can be done in order to improve it, right? You are sitting at this particular layer where you will be doing process implementation, and you will be ensuring that whatever process you have implemented, they are deployed in your architecture. And then you will be setting up a monitoring tool which will ensure that it is monitoring your process flows properly, right? You will be identifying metrics that you want to use as KPI for your process execution, and probably that will help us to follow through again process evaluation, do analysis, implement, monitor. So this is what is something which actually you need to adopt when actually we talk about process modeling, right? So here, this is what is the part that you will be doing: implementation, deployment, and also setting up monitoring, right? So here you need to know, okay, what is the process, what is the business significance of that process, what type of actions are involved in it, what type of data is involved in it, right? What type of conditional decisions need to be taken, what need to be done in case of fault, right? That fault may be because of data structure, that fault may be because of improper alignment and improper use of a particular business event. So there are many reasons why actually errors will be there. So to be very frank, this is where you will be. So when you do tool selection, you need to select the right set of tools for process analysis and design. You need to select right tools for process implementation and monitoring, right? So this is what need to be done at our end. Now, if you ask me what is the tool that will help us to do process modeling, I mean to say process analysis and design, I'm sure that some of you might have heard about Business Modeler. Have you heard about Business Modeler? Okay, so heard but not used, that's fine. So that is the tool actually which is used in order to do business modeling. And from there itself you can directly take up the artifacts, and you can use those artifacts in process implementation, because they are, whatever process modeling you will be doing internally, they will be generating UMLs, and those UMLs can be used in order to do code generation. And once code is generated, they can be published as service. Once services are there, they can be made part of your business implementation, right? But there are many tools which actually helps you to do that. Process implementation, we are going to use a tool. That tool is from JBoss, and that is JBPM, right? So this is what is overall responsibility of someone who understands business, who can model business, and then pass it on, that model, in a common language to the developers, so that they can go and they can develop business processes, right? So as I told you, standard need to be followed, right? So that you need not go and learn every time a new language for doing business post process choreography. Okay, so you'll have OMG standard, which is supported and adopted by many tools, whether it is Oracle BPA, or whether it is business process visual architect, or it is Bizaki, or it is TIBCO Business Studio, right? Or it may be your IBM's process server, or it may be JBPM, or it may be other tools which are there in market. They have adopted this particular convention, right? Now, this is, I'll say that most important part of our basic training, right? Where we need to understand symbols so that we can draw graphs and then probably implement it using a particular JBPM tool, right? So if you see BPM in process model is a graph that typically contains 4 elements, right? There may be different types of these 4 elements. For example, there may be different type of tasks, there may be different types of events, there may be different type of gateways, right? But almost all these are these are the 4 elementary artifacts that we use in order to draw and then finally implement our process flow: event, task, flow, gateway. Let's follow the convention, because this convention is a standard which is adopted, right? So we have seen that this convention is a standard, right, which is from OMG standard, right? So which actually maintains all the standards and everyone adheres to it, everyone follows it, right? So these are 4 important types of elements that we have. Let's take an example. Identify your start, identify your end, and identify your task. Identify gateways that you have to use. Gateways may be converging, it may be diverging, right? There are different type of gateways. There are different type of tasks. Now, for example, reject order can be automated task. Confirm order can be an automated task. Check stock availability can be a user or human task, right? Send invoice can be again an automated email task. Ship goods can be again a manual task. So these are different type of tasks. So initially, when you start drawing your diagram or start depicting your business flow, don't focus on what type of task it is, right? Focus on what are the tasks, what are the gateways, and where it starts and where it ends. Please always ensure that each and every flow should end. If you will not end this, your build will fail. Similarly here, if you see, it ends here. So end is mandatory, right? All flows must end with a terminator. That is what you need to take care of, right? You don't worry, drawing it is pretty simple, and today you will be actually trying out on that. Is that clear? Yeah, Devon, please, you can ask question. Shall I go to previous slide? Why wouldn't there be just one end? Okay. Devon, see what happens sometimes. Assume that we are into order management itself, and there are different business units in that organization that manages processing of order, right? So what happens? Process flow continues to next business unit only if it meets certain criteria. Now, for example, assume that I have a different department which actually manages all the rejected orders. For example, it goes to analytics, and they do analytics why actually order was rejected, right? And here we have confirm order, which probably after confirmation it sends it to shipment department, right? Now shipment department also need to know where their activity ends, Is it clear? And other reason, Bevon, is before you end, you will like to fire some event here, some event here, right? Yeah, Bevon. Actor is this. For example, if I say check stock availability is a human, so this becomes actor, right? And everyone will have privilege of executing a business flow. Now, for example, if you want this business flow or process should be executed only by, you say, admin. So when you go, yeah, Chris, you can try doing that. But as I told you that before your process ends, you want to fire different events. Is that clear? While drawing diagram, you can. And that's what you will try. That is something which is, capability of a tool, that it reuses a particular component which is already there if there is no such event, different events which are getting fired. Tomorrow again, if you have to add some extra processes, right, you have to do lots of modifications. Here you will just go and keep on incrementing this. There will be no impact over others. But there are various reasons actually. If you feel that that is what is the flexible way and that suits your need, please go and do it. There is no problem. Everyone, is that clear? You need to just ensure that your processes and tasks are always terminated. They are not open. Okay? Fine. Yes, Devon, absolutely right. So now when it comes to, gateways. Now please understand that terminology is used may be different by different tools, right? But since we are following OMG standard, it's going to be common across different tools. As I told you that you can have, converging and diverging gateways. Here, if you see exclusive decision merge, indicates location within a business process where sequence flow can take two or more alternate paths. So this is diverging, right? Then depicted by diamond shape that may contain a marker that is shaped like an X. But please understand that only one path can be executed during a particular process execution. You cannot execute all paths there. So it's like if and else kind of situation, right? When a data or a event is fired, that particular event kickstart that business flow, it will just execute one path of your, diverging gateway. Is that clear? Fine. Then you have, converging gateways, which we are calling here as join. Now, this provides a mechanism to synchronize parallel flow and to create parallel flow. I mean to say you want to depict that parallelly three different, right? So we need to understand. Chris, I'm seeing your, I feel that my voice is clear. Is anyone else facing the issue? Okay. Anthony, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Is it clear now?
Yep, it's fine now.
Okay. Fine. So it's fine. So we'll continue. So this is how actually, you will decide on gateway and you will be using gateway. Now you see this is what is the revised one. So can you identify here converging and diverging? If you see, confirm order, send invoice, ship goods. Now here this is what is diverging. Here this is something called as converging, right? Where you are joining two fourth processes, right? So this is how actually you will depict it. in your process flow. Okay. Process modeling viewpoints. So if you see here, there are different uses of the process. If you see, there is a form, right? There is a human task, right? You have some automated task, you have group task, right? So there are different viewpoints of a particular process. We'll take care of it once we move forward, right? So if you see here, you have process, when actually this process need to start, and what is the function that this particular process will do, and who is the owner of this process. It gets executed where, because when we talk about process modeling, it may span multiple different organizations, right? Yes, but I got a question, but in private. But for confirm order, it need not be diverging. No, it depends. I'm just talking about a scenario here, a situation. Okay, I'm not talking about a particular business use case. In your use case, if you feel that diverging is not needed, it's fine. We can go ahead with that. Okay, so it depends how actually the business model has been created, what actually that business analyst has depicted. Is that clear? So when you're sending questions or any suggestions, please do that selecting all. Right, so if you see here, you have what, and you have who, you have when, and you have to go and you have to actually depict all this, right? And these are the data, service, and products, right? So when you plan your process, please think from these 4 perspectives. What is the function? Probably you will end up writing some script, or you will end up hooking up some web service there. When that process has to start, you will identify the right event. It can be probably a human task also, or it can be when a form is filled. Then who is the owner of this particular process, right? Who actually delivers that functionality, and what data, service, and product are used here. So these are the 4 dimensions that you have to visualize when actually you do process modeling. Okay, any questions, Bebon? Any experience you would like to share? Okay, thanks. Fine. So if you see, you need to have these 2 basic abstraction. One is resource, that is actor. That actor can be whoever initiates that particular functionality or get affected by that particular functionality or does that activity. Then you have resource class. This is a set of resources. You have resource class, which can be a role or a group. That's what we were talking about, who, right? Whether it's a particular role or it's a group. Fine. So we'll be able to identify organizational elements in this way. So JBPM resource classes are captured using pool, that is independent organizational entities like customers, suppliers, hospital, or school, or your own business unit, whatever you feel like. Then you have lanes, right? Each lane will contain resource classes which are used in the same organizational space, and they share the same system, right? You might have heard about swim lane, right? That actually helps you to do abstraction of services, right? So sales department, marketing department, clerks, manager, engineers, right? So you can go and you can use these 2 terms. If you see here, you have pool and you have lanes, right? So this helps you to understand. This is another, this is pool 2, which has 2 lanes, right? And message passes happening between them. This is what you need to understand. This gives you a clear picture. I'll give you some time to say this. You have 2 different pools, and customer has its own swim lane, supplier has its own swim lane. Who will be doing what is designated here clearly. right? So you see, customer places order, purchase order is sent to supplier, supplier starts a business process execution. Okay, so here event will be when purchase order is sent, probably when purchase order is sent to a message queue, right? It checks stock availability, right? You have a gateway, confirm order or reject order. This is diverging. Confirm order has a converging gateway, send invoice, ship good. After everything is done, shipment notification and invoice is sent to the customer where payments are made. Is this clear? So as a business analyst, you need to identify organization. Within organization, you can identify, swim lanes, where each swim lane will be designated to an actor, right? That actor can be a group, that actor can be an individual, that actor can be a device, that actor can be, anything which initiates or plays an important role in execution of a business process. Simple, right? Not complicated. Okay. Anil, is that clear? Why should there be a start for supplier? Okay. Krish is asking why there should be a stop, a start for supplier. Anyone who can actually, answer this. You see, as a customer, you may actually, send purchase order to multiple suppliers. And as a supplier, you may receive purchase order from multiple customers, right? So activities, whoever is planning, supplier's business process, they need to have a start that, okay, when I will receive a purchase order, this is what is the business flow. Krish, I mean to say. Is that clear? Okay, so did you understand now relevance of why actually supplier need to have? He can do it, but here you see customer's application is different and supplier's application is different. Right, Chris? So this is communication. Your business process may not always involve only one enterprise app, right? Your business processes where each and every activity may be a request to, process of a different business unit itself. Is that clear? Now, as a business analyst, when you go to a particular company, you will be actually analyzing the requirement of that particular enterprise. Okay. Yes, Bevan, it's availability, stock availability, but imagine Amazon.com. Amazon will not maintain all the stocks, Bevan and Chris. If it is only for your own shop, right? In that scenario, what you say works, right? But if your supplier is a different pool itself, there should be some trigger which starts responsibility of a supplier. And customer actually is sending purchase order to X entity, where X entity is sending, purchase order to the supplier of that particular product. Okay, but if you are the, you are the supplier as well, in that scenario, we don't need this. You are absolutely right. So you have customer management system different, you have stock management system different, you have inventory management system different, you have shipment different. All these are 4 different units, and each unit will have their own business processes. Is that fine? So we may have a different type of business activities which goes on. right? So here this example just depicts you that how actually you will identify pool, how actually you will utilize concept of swim lane in order to ensure that you are able to depict who is doing what process. Okay, as I told you that you may have different approach of executing the same business scenario. This is depiction of one of the school of business. You may have different approach of executing the same process in a given scenario. Okay, here we just wanted to discuss on how two different pool with two different swim lane will actually own the processes and they will be depicted. That's what was the objective. Rest depends on the business unit. Yes, because you don't want this business action to be coupled with only one customer. So here it will start once an event of put message comes to a queue. This business process will start executing. Okay, fine. So this is what is one way. Now here you see supplier is one pool, and here you have sales, distribution and warehouse. Now here you don't have extra start in warehouse. Why? Because it is part of the same pool. Is the confusion over now? Devan, Chris, Anil. Okay, so it depends on it, right? Okay, pool. See, this supplier is pool, sales and distribution is a swim lane or lane, warehouse is another lane. Okay, they are there in the same pool, and pool is identified by the organization. Okay, so this is how actually you will depict your processes. And yes, you need to go through walkthrough, because you will have yeah, Chris, that's what I told you, because a customer, we understood that okay, customer will have a process and process will be to send the PO, right? Supplier is another BU, you say BU, business unit, organization, where you have two different business units, right? Now, since this is part of the same pool, this is not required. Start again is not required for this. Okay, so this is how actually you will identify, you will depict different business processes. Is that clear? Yeah, I'm looking for your experience also. You can definitely discuss on that as well. Now, process we understand, but process works on data, right? So you will have three important things. I mean to say different artifacts apart from what we have seen earlier. One is data object, right? This shows what is the in, what is the out, right? Data that is required or which is actually produced by activities. It represents input and output of a process activity. Okay, so when I create a data object and when I go and use the data object with a process or with a task, I need to specify input and output. Clear? Each task will have an input and it will have an output. Okay, so for example, you have an object called as product. So for a particular business process, product ID may be input, data input, and data output can be product object which is populated with rest of the data of that product which has that particular product ID. Is that clear? Okay, great. Now data store. Your data objects are persisted in data store. It's so simple. right? After execution of the process, you want that particular data to be stored, you go with persisting that data, and there you will be using data store, right? And then you have to go and associate. You have to use associations, right, to link different artifacts. So you will have directed association, you have undirected association, right? So these are two different type of associations which are there. We'll come across this. Now please understand, once you understand this, standard notations, it becomes very easy for us to use the tools which we are going to use, right? Now you see this. You have check stock availability, purchase order is received. You see, this is what directed? You have direction here, right? You have directed association, you see, right? Purchase order, reject order, you have directed association. You mean to say bidirectional. So after execution of a task, it moves to other task. It follows actually DAG. Okay. So bidirectional will not come into picture here. You see, you are changing set PO to approved, set PO to rejected. I mean to say you are changing the data. So this shows you that what will be the activity. You see, this is undirected. Okay. This part is undirected, where you are making changes in your data objects. Fine. So you can associate your task with data objects, right? And that's how actually you are going to write your business processes. Is that clear? Any confusion? Yes, B1, please. Okay, no, B1. See that action, what you can see here, that action, actually you will be setting as an activity that will be done by this particular task. So reject order is a task. What you do in that? You execute an expression, right? Where you say, okay, order dot set state rejected. Fine, B1? So that is the activity that you will be doing when this particular task will get executed. So that you will write in script, and you will map that script with this particular task. Okay? Yes. Yes, B1. Action, when we say task, it has to do some action, right? That action can be executing a script, executing a web service, or human task, right? Okay, fine. Let's move now. So these are different elements we'll do. Data store. Flow object contains gateway, events, and activities. Connections, you have message, you have association, and you have flow, right? The message actually is something which is asynchronous. Then you have swim lane, you have pool, you have data store, and you have data object. You can annotate it with, text annotation. So any confusion in this B, P, M, and primary elements? Are we all good? Okay. Fine. So, okay. So when it comes to flow, right, after execution of that task, some output will get created which will be passed on to the next task. When we say message, it is asynchronous. Okay, there are different ways of, there are different models of actually, request response processing. One is synchronous model, other is asynchronous model. In asynchronous model, unit of activity is message. In synchronous, it is flow. Shan, is that clear? So for example, when I say message comes to an MQ queue and then action is triggered, so that I need to specify using message, right? If output of one task is input to another task, right, sequential, during sequential execution, that I will specify using flow. Is that clear? Okay. So you have these different elements. You have start event, you have, task, you have end event, then you have flow, and then you have gateways, converging, diverging, different type of gateways which are there. Okay. So if you see, you have something called as process fork, right? You have different type of gateways which are there. You can have a parallel gateway, right? Parallel gateways are represented by using flow, and that flow will converge with a plus. Now for example, if you see here, this is something which actually represents what? Can you tell what is this? XOR decision. These are different joins, right? Your processes are getting joined. Now for example, see, BPMN actually uses term called join to refer combining of two or more parallel paths into one, right? So they are also known as AND join or synchronization sometime, right? So for example, if you see here, this is AND join, right? This does what? AND join. Process join is commonly used in combination with a controlled fork, and we call it as an AND gateway, right? Then you have XOR. Fine. Yes, Bevan. You have XOR. Now this is exclusive gateway. So when you actually talk about a conditional expression which actually is contained in the outgoing, you see, sequence flow, which is definitely data based, we call it as XOR. So you have exclusive branches which actually are depicted in this particular way, right? So you have different ways in which actually you can use it. It will be more clear once we move and we take up examples. And if you see, apart from join, you have merge as well, right? So in BPVM, you say merge is actually used to point in the process where two or more alternate sequence flow paths are combined finally into one, right? So BPMN can use multiple incoming sequence flows for an activity, or an exclusive gateway like XOR merge to perform a merge, right? So you have uncontrolled merge, you have controlled merge. There are various type of merge which will come into picture, right? So these are different elements which we will be using. You'll understand better with use cases. Is this clear? You'll remember notations. As of now, my primary objective is to make sure that we all are able to identify a business process the minute we see it by using this particular concept. Now for example, what's wrong in this model? Anyone? Anyone? What's wrong? Here, right? Action is not there here, right? So there are certain rules which we will discuss when it comes to which node has to be used in what scenario, right? So that you'll come to know once we talk about those rules. But as of now, these are different type of gateways. Be very clear. Yeah, that's divergent. Exclusive decision, take one branch. Exclusive merge, proceed when one branch has completed. Then you have parallel and parallel split, take all branches. Parallel join, proceed when all incoming branches have completed. And then you have inclusive OR, right? Take one or several branches depending on the conditions. And inclusive merge is proceed when all active incoming branches have completed, right? So you have to identify that your business process needs which type of gateway, right? And gateways are classified in these different into these different types, right? This is what is OR gateway, order received, and here you have warehouse, stock item, stock B item. Checks availability in warehouse A, checks availability in warehouse B. And after checking it, it is converging and select warehouse or restock it, right? So these are some of the scenarios where actually you can go with gateways. This is how we have fixed this particular model. So you can go with diverging. As I told you that you need to know rules. So forget about this. We'll discuss on rules and then you will be able to do. Today I want you to quickly go and have, hand set on all different ways of building your business processes. JBPM. These are the tools. These are the, BPMN has its own convention. When you go and use tools, they will come up with their own conventions, right? Now, since all of us are going to work in JBPM, we need to know those conventions. So if you see, this is what is start, this is end, then you have signal, you have error event, you have timer. These are different type of events, which actually you can utilize in your, JBPM, right? These are different type of activities. You have script task, service task, user task, reusable sub-processes, business rule task, which we will write using rules. And a sub-process is represented by, a process which has a start and which has an end. Right? So events, we have seen these are different type of events. Then we have activities, these are different type of activities. And these are the gateways, converging and diverging, and XOR and OR, and where the flow of the process continues to all outgoing connection at the same time, or where the flow proceeds based on evaluation of all outgoing constraints, and the path is enabled when the constraint is evaluated to true. If it is returns false, that path will not be, enabled. XOR goes to one only outgoing path according to some predefined constraint, right? So these are different notations that you will be using in your JBPM. Is this clear? Is this clear till here? Okay. Any confusion? Anil, Shan, Chris? Am I audible? Are you there? Yeah, it's opposite. This is converging, this is diverging. That's right. That's right. It's just placement of this. Okay. Fine. So this is how actually it will work. Now I'll give you a 10 minutes break. Post break, we'll come and we'll try to understand what tools we are going to use. Okay. So break starts now. 7:20. We'll what's time? So we'll have 10 minutes break now. before we start. 9:50 a.m. EST. We'll start at 10. And today I will give you, work that you have to do at your end also. Not homework, Krish. You have to do it now itself to ensure that everyone is completing initial things. Okay, so we are on break. So in case if some people are not able to do or they are getting errors in initial stages, we can rectify it. I'll be on mute now. Shall we start now? Okay, fine. So now if you see, we have seen what is, standard notations which are used. Now we'll go back to our tools that we are going to use in order to draw, in order to work with those business processes. And today I'll be, we'll be working out with it. I'll give you time in order to be comfortable in that, right? So that's how actually we'll proceed. There are two important tools that we'll be using. One is definitely a plugin which comes along with Eclipse. I mean to say you need to install that plugin. And other one is KIE, right? Which stands for, as I told you, knowledge is everywhere. One sec. Oh, okay. Right, it stands for knowledge is everywhere. Now, Krish, we can install KIE wherever you want, right? It just needs a container, right? And that container can be an application server of your choice. Fine, you can download separately, set up with your own Tomcat or your own, application server, right? You need to just ensure that, your server should be compliant with the KIE version, where version that you are downloading, right? In our case, we have installed a demo, and when we start demo, we get it, right? It is already deployed. So for development and testing, you can go with that, but for real deployment, you need to, look for right environment where actually you want to deploy. And one of the lab that we will be doing is to, deploy KIE and deploy your processes in Tomcat as well, because that is what you are using. Fine. So that's the overall objective. Now here, this is what is the structure of the workbench. Okay, very important. You have here organization unit, business department that you can specify. And then you have virtual file system repository. I mean to say it comes with some of the tools which are already there. Right? You have project, you have repository for loans, you have repository for insurances, right? Now, if you want to create a project for your organization, you need to create an organization unit, right? And you need to associate that organization unit with the right repository. So please understand the concept. You have an organization unit, you have to build repository, and whatever project you create, whatever data artifact you are going to use, that will be stored in that particular repository. Is that clear? So what are the steps, Wong? Create organization unit, create a repository, associate that repository with your organization unit, and then go and start creating projects. And projects itself will have what? They will have business process, they will have data artifacts, they will have, decision tables, right? They'll have different contents. Is that clear? Elakya, Rahul? Okay, great. Fine. So this is what is the direct, the structure. I'll connect and I'll show you. Just remember a few terms. Anyway, this is what is the workbench. User ID Chris V. Chris V is the password. We have already done it, and you get a decent, workbench. And in that workbench, you get various options. Authoring. You get project authoring and administration. Now, please understand that you have 4 different perspectives in which you can work. Chris, one is administration perspective, right? Then you have project authoring perspective. So if I talk about creating an organization unit, creating a repository, you need to be in administrative perspective. Now, if you have to create a project, if you have to create a data artifact, you have to be in project authoring perspective. If you have to build and deploy, you have to be in project authoring perspective, right? If you want to manage processes that you have deployed, you'll be using process management. If you want to work on tasks which are running, you'll be using task. Fine. And And this is for deploy. What you want to deploy, what you want to see your process deployment, see your rule deployment, see your jobs which are running, right? So these are different capabilities which are there, which actually we can invoke. Okay? Simple. As I told you, there are two perspectives in which you will work. One is project authoring perspective, second is administration perspective. In administration perspective, you can go and you can create repositories. Now, what are these repositories? Repositories are stores which will store your assets of organization, right? Repository is organized by projects and belongs to an organization unit. So you can consider that repository as virtual file system, and please understand, by default, backend which is used in order to prepare and support and keep your repository is GIT. Benefit of GIT is you can clone, you can have version control on your repositories, right? This is how you will create repository. Go to administrative view, select new repository, give a name, create an organization, to select an organization unit. The minute you do that, you will get, association between repository and organization unit. Is that clear? Till here, everything is fine? Because as I told you that today I want you to have proper hands-on on your own. I want to give you some time. I want you to spend time here because as a homework, I know you have your own schedules. You may not, you may not get time. So you just see what I am doing. I will try to explain you the, UI, and probably I will like you to follow some steps which is there in labs in order to understand it in a, proper structure, right? So I'll just go and end my this. I'll connect to my virtual box and I'll just go and take it. I'll take password. Hope this is the right box to which I'm connecting. I'll say okay, connect. It's taking some time. Now I'll just close all and I will start. Just a minute. Right? I'll maximize it. And I'll launch browser. In browser, I need to write HTTP localhost and JBPM console. Press enter. I'll enter user ID and password here. Chris V. Click on sign in. And I get the dashboard. This is what is the dashboard, right? Now you have different options here. You have home, you have authoring, you have deploy, you have process management, you have dashboard, you have extension. There are different units, right? Now, when I click on authoring, I get, different perspectives. Okay. Let me go to administration perspective. I'll go to administration perspective. And now here I get existing repositories. Some of the repositories are by default deployed. Right? I'll click on, you get two things, organization unit and repository. For example, if you want to create a new organization unit here, click on manage organization unit. Right? As of now, you say you are managing processes of two different organizations. You want to create for your own. So I'll write here some organization, default. You can specify owner, right? I'm not specifying anything as of now, right? I can say Chris V. Click on OK. How to start local server again? Okay, I'll come to that, Chris. Just see the process that I'm following here so that you can understand this, and then I'll definitely help you out in starting the local server again. Okay, is that clear? Fine. So you know what you have done. You have created an organization, right? After creating organization, what you can do is you can go and you can create a repository. As of now, if you see, there are no repositories which are associated with this, right? We don't have any. If I go to Alchemy LS, I have a repository which is associated. If I go to demo, it has a repository. Two repositories are there. Yes, Bhavan. Right. I'll just go here, select Alchemy, select Cognizant, right? And I'll go to repository. I'll click on new repository. So what actions I want you to know today is you need to have awareness how actually you'll be building the entire flow. Okay. I'll go click on new repository, give a repository name. For example, say HR. I'm giving HR. Select your organization unit, and that's it. You are done. Finish. Now, if you see, once I select Cognizant, I'll get here, repository. Is this clear? Any confusion? As an administrator, this is what we have done, right? You can use, these to add more repositories to it. Fine. Now let's go and start project authoring. Okay. Fine. So I'll just go to authoring. I'll move to project authoring perspective. And if you see, in project, I'll close these because I was actually working on it. So this was used in another class. Okay, I'll go to Alchemy LS. Here I have what? Cognizant, right? So the minute you click there, you'll find that you have Cognizant as an organization unit. HR is the repository, but you don't have anything here. Is this clear? Any confusion? Okay, fine. Now we need to create items. So I'll just go here, you see. Only HR repository is there, not a problem. I'll come to new item. And here I have project. Rest of them, if you see, they are disabled. Why? Because container for these are project, right? You can create business process, you can declare data object, you can use decision tables, you can use rule files, you can use, global variables, fine? You can use scorecards, test scenarios. There are different units but they need to be part of a project. So first I will build a project, right? So for example, assume that I am writing project name as recruitment, right? You can give description whatever you want. No, control on that. It's not mandatory as well. I'll click on finish. So we have created a project, right? The minute you created project, here you will get recruitment added, right? And here if you see work item definitions, nothing is there, right? Because we haven't created anything. Alexia, is that clear? Okay, fine. Now next, Let's go and add, business process to it. The minute you create project, you will find business process, data object, all of them will be enabled. So I'll go and I'll create business process. I'll write here candidate selection, right? What package? I'll say cognizant.recruitment. Okay, click on OK. So now the minute you create, a process, it adds or it loads your JBPM editor. Right? You have to be careful here because this is something, which you need to be expert with. Bevan, is that fine? You are fine with the pace, everyone? Okay. Now, next, we have to do certain activities, right? So you see here, you have, property editor. You see here, I'll click on this, and it gives me, tools that actually we can load. Start event is already there, right? Now you can go and you can take different type of task. For example, I'll go here and I'll take task. Let me take a task here. If you don't want from here, you just go here, select it. The minute you select, you will find these, right? These are very useful when you go and when you draw, right? For example, here I have a, a rectangle sign. I'll click on that rectangle. Immediately what happens? It creates a task. Got it? And once it is selected, you will get again all this, right? And I can go and I can click one more, right? So I have 2 tasks now, and this is what is the, flow. This is the flow. And what I can do is, after these 2, I can go with end. So you see, I'll move here. I've selected this. I'm moving. You see here, you will get a circle. The circle means end. It's clear? So similarly, you can go and you can, draw different things. Just be with me. You'll understand. I'll come to B1. Now, as B1 is asking, what type of tasks are these? Don't worry. Select this. You have here a tool set. You can go and you can designate whatever task you want it to be. For example, I'll take user. Here also I will take user, right? So you can select and you can designate type of task. Okay? Is this clear? Fine. Now I want to give it a name. I want this task to have a name. I'll double click on it and I'll give name here. For example, it's candidate selection, so I'll just write here shortlist. Right? It's just a simple one to demonstrate you what we are doing. And second is, I'll say test review. That's it. I'm just taking these 2 just to explain you this. Okay. So now we have process, right? You can save it. If you want to give it a check-in name, you can. Not required. You should get this successfully saved. Any confusion? Okay. Now if you go here in recruitment, if you go to HR, let me be here only, and I click here, I get Cognizant here, right? And under Cognizant I get recruitment. Under recruitment, now I got this business processes apart from work item definition. You see, I expand it and I get one of the business process added. Yes, Anil. Yeah, Anil, I'm waiting for your question. Why not using HR? HR is repository, Anil. Under that repository, you have recruitment as, HR is, recruitment is the project. Under this project, you have this candidate selection. Okay. Cognizant is the organization unit. HR is the repository. You want to keep this asset, this project called recruitment under HR. Now assume that you have two different repositories. You can go and you can change, right? You can select that particular repository and you can create project in that. Is that clear, Anil? So you'll have organization unit which will have multiple repositories. Each repository may have different projects. Each project may have different assets. Okay. Any confusion? Great. So now this is what is business process that you have created. You can create multiple business processes and you can go and you can work with it, right? Now comes, okay, what about data? Okay. I need to specify some data also, otherwise what is meaning of shortlisting? What is meaning of test review? It has to be binded with some input and output, right? So what I should do? I should go to new item, right? There are various ways. I'm just telling you so that you get clarity. And I have here data. Object. Okay, I'll click on data object. Right, when I click on data object, what it does, it will ask me, okay, tell me what is the data object that you want to create. I'll say, can you create candidate for me? And keep it in the same package where actually that business process is there. Persistable, if you want, you can select this. If you want this, data object to be persisted in data store, else you can deselect it. I'll click on OK. Now it opens, another editor. You see, here it says identifier is candidate, package is Cognizant recruitment, superclass is java.lang.object, add field. I'll say candidate ID, right? And here type you can select as integer or whatever you want. I'll say create and continue. I can go and take here, total marks, and this total marks will be double or float, whatever you want. Click create and continue. I can take here name, and here I'll take it as string, right? Click create and continue. I can take here, experience, or let me say, okay, let me take here something, experience. Type I can take as, let me take int. And finally, I'll click on create. Now, are you able to see? You have identifier, you have, type. So typically it creates a class. Can you point to an existing data object? Yes, you can. You can import. Yes, Bevan, you can use. You can point to an existing one. Okay. I'm just creating a new one because our asset had no data objects. Now, next is you just go to source right? And you'll find that it automatically generates the class with setter getter. Your POJO is automatically generated by data modeler. Okay. And you can click on save now. I'll not give any comment, that's fine. This item was selected, saved, and here now you have data object. So you have to have all the business processes, all the data objects, and these business processes will use these data objects. Okay, any confusion? You will be doing post session, I mean to say, and I have allotted time for that so that you can do this on your own as well. Okay. Okay, what next? I have used data. I have created data object. Now I want to use it in my candidate selection process. Done? How to do that? So you see here you have shortlist. If you just go and see this particular case here, edit data IO, you are able to see? Okay. And other thing that you have to look at this in the screen is this, breadcrunch. I'll just click here. I have selected this, and here you get, assignment, actor. Bevan, are you able to see? Okay. Now, who should be able to run this, right? That is what should be there. I selected shortlisted. I will say Chris V. If you want more user, you have to go and add user, and then you can specify. Now here, as of now, there is no, assignment. Don't worry. I'll come to task name. Let me give task name first. I'll give task name as shortlist only, not an issue. You can be more proper and follow convention once we reach there. Once we start working with some good assignment. Now here 0 data input, 0 output. So I'll go and select. What it gives? Be careful. It gives me shortlist data IO. So for this task shortlist, we are going to specify now what will be the data input and what will be the data output. Is that fine? So post session you need practice, okay? So that these basic tasks you should not forget. Okay. I'll go and I'll add data input assignment. I'll give a name. Let me give name as candidate. And I'll select data type. And this is candidate, right? Source, you see, as of now there is no source, don't worry. Now click for output, give a name, data type. So if you have created multiple, you can use it the way I'm using it here. Okay. I'll click on save. So now if you see, you are able to see one data input, one data output. Do the same task for rest of them also as per your business use case. Right. Now since I'm using here only one, I'm specifying one. I'll select test review. Go to task name. Right. I'll come here. I'll go to this. Click on add. Name. I'll give a name, for example, the test result, something. I'll give data type of my choice. I'll say double or whatever you want. Yes, Krish, you'll have, don't worry. You'll have handout today, you'll get it and you'll be doing it post this, okay? Same is the case with this, right? So this is how you will associate your process with, data. I'll say selected, just using something, okay? For this, I'll take Boolean, click on save. So now you have specified, data input and data output for processes. Any confusion? This is not a real case. I'm just trying you to focus on the, on the task that you'll be doing, how actually you'll be using it. Okay, you can save it. So assuming that you have built your business processes, you have created your data objects, now you want to deploy. Yeah, we need to specify actor as well, Pragnesh, okay. I'll say Chris V, right. You don't take this particular one because this is just in order to, take you through the UI which we are using, so that you can know at least how to build a business process, how to build data object, how to do mapping, and then finally how to, go and deploy it, right. This is just the process is what I'm trying to tell you, okay. I have not taken up a very managed assignment here or exercise here. Okay. Next is we want to deploy it. So just go to project editor, click on it. And after clicking on it, you have something called as build and deploy, right? So I might have not, done everything correct as per the need. I have not written any expression or anything here. I just go and click on build and deploy. Build successful. Any confusion? Pragnesh, Krishna, Anil? Any confusion? Okay, Bevan, that builds and deploys this business process in your JBPM container. You can now export this project as well, and you can use this project in your Eclipse. Yes, it generates that. For example, I can see the work definition from here. Right, so I'll show you. That is JSON, yes, B1. It's not people, it will internally generate, and you can export this file if you want to. I'll show you from where actually it will go. Okay, so we have as of now deployed. Just we'll follow this and then we'll go to files and other things a bit later. So, till here it's clear. We have deployed. Come to deploy and process deployments. Are you able to see here your deployed unit? And it is active as well, right? If you want, you can undeploy from here. Okay. Any confusion after deploying where you will check? Now I am selecting the deployment, right? If I want to deactivate, I can deactivate from here. If I want to undeploy, I can undeploy from here. But what I'll do, I'll go to process management. In process management, I'll go to process definition. Are you able to see this candidate selection? Since we only have one process defined there, we will be seeing that. If you have multiple, you can see multiple. Okay, fine. Let's start it. You will get a form here which you can launch. We have not gone to that stage where we have not assigned any form to user. I'm just telling you the process of deployment and other things. This comes probably next. Okay. I'll just go and click on submit. The minute you click on submit, you see process is started. Okay, and here you get information about the process. Instance, process variables, you have initiator as Chris V, then here you have document. As of now, we don't have any document attached. Now what I'll do, I'll click on start. Click on submit. You see it is singleton, so process is started. I'll go to process instance now, because the minute you start the process, it creates an instance. And you see, I clicked on that twice, so it has started 2 instances. Is this clear? Any confusion? You have seen the process, right? That how actually we created organization unit, how we created repository, inside repository, how we created project. Inside project, you have, business process, you have data objects, right? And then we saw how to draw, how actually different things will be done when you are drawing, right? And then finally build and deploy. After build and deploy, go to process management and process definition to define the particular process. Then we started it, and when we started it, we got 2 instances. Right? Then you have signal. You can send different signals, signal data, right? So which we have not used anywhere. We are not processing any signal anywhere, right? So this is not required. Fine, so our process is not doing anything as of now. You'll go through a step-by-step approach in order to see all this on your own as well. Now I'll abort the process. I'll abort the process. You'll get a list of processes, what are completed, what are active, and what are aborted. Is this clear? If you go to task, you'll find various task lists, right? As of now, there is no active task. So is this clear? Any confusion? I can go and start again. Click on submit. We can see it in process definition once, process instance, and active. I can go to task, right? And now in task, if you see, you have shortlist. So this is how actually you will be using this in order to, I'll click on release. Right, this is what is the node name. You get detail. You can go and you can do assignment, comment. I'll click on claim. Is this clear? So this is how actually we'll be managing. I'm just showing you different options, right? How actually you can go and you can work with it. You can go to process instance, abort it. Go to process definition. Don't start it. Go to deploy. Undeploy. So that's what I want. Right? We have now this unit undeployed. So this is how actually you will work with project authoring, and I've tried showing you, different steps that you will be using in order to work with it. Any confusion till here? So are you all ready to try your own hands? Okay, great. So I'll give you 10 minutes break. Meanwhile, Anthony will pass on the lab to you. Okay, fine. I'm sending you the lab material. Anthony will send it to you. Okay, so I have already passed on the lab guide to you, right? You can use it. Okay, Anthony, can you send it? Have you sent it? Okay, send it and you'll get it in 2 minutes. It has labs. You have to finish all labs today and probably by end of the day, because it helps you to understand, how to use it. And lab 2 you will be working on today, okay? Not lab 1. You have to work on lab 2. Lab 1 I'll be making you do once I show you how to work in Eclipse, okay? So lab 2 is something which you have to complete today. Yeah, Rahul, you can ask. We all have installed the same version, right? So UI will not be different. If you have downloaded it from the same source from where we downloaded, it should be the same. Long it takes 45 minutes, 35 to 45 minutes. You can complete the lab and we can wind off for the day. You can, plan your lab as per your wish. But before joining tomorrow's session, I want you to be, ready with the labs. And please ensure that you are using other names. You can change the name instead of using, names which are given. You can change the name. That is up to you. Okay. Alekia, I'm sending you, your box URL, user ID, and I mean to say, you can use that. You have to just change the user ID and password. I mean to say, connect URL and the password. I'm sending you the password. So IP that you have to use is 104.154.25. Alekia, have you received it? I've sent you in a private chat. Then it's fine, Alekia. You can use it then. Use your own then. Okay. There is no problem, Anthony, with Alekia's box. Fine. So you can do at your own pace. I just wanted to complete this and, take rest for the day. Okay, Wong, I'm making you presenter. Can you just share your screen with me so that I can see you are not getting JBPM? Why? You are the presenter now. Please share your screen, Wong. We'll just see what's happening. It might be because plugins are not installed properly, so we'll just see. Just go to your Eclipse. Go to, okay, it's there. Go to File, New, Project. Go to Project. Yeah, and cancel it. Change the perspective. You are in Java perspective as of now. You should. So there is problem in your Eclipse. Close it and launch it once again. Close it. Now go to Start. Shut down all and then restart it. Go to your command prompt. Yeah. And here you write and stop.demo. Stop.demo. First to stop it. Stop.demo. Okay, fine. This might be there because plugins are not there, but it shows that. That's fine. Let's see what it launches. You have already started once, so it's not going to, you just go to background and see once. You have started second instance. Just go to background. It's already running, so close it. Go to the background. No, it's already there. So you minimize this command prompt. Okay, now try. Change the perspective first. Cancel it. I don't want you to manually install plugins. Go to JBPM. Change the perspective. Okay. No, it's not. It has not installed plugin. Close it. And probably I will start the install process on it on your box. So just go to start, command prompt once again. Yeah, and you write here stop.demo. See, and stop.demo. Yeah. Let it stop and then try to restart again. If it doesn't work, then reinstallation will be required. So that I'll be doing. So since your web is working, that's fine. Yeah, start it. Not an issue. You don't reinstall as of now. You work in web console, complete that web console part, and then probably you can start with. Yeah, so complete that web part. In case if it is not working, then you have to uninstall it first and then reinstall. I'll be on mute.
Okay, guys, we can leave for today. I'll send you the video access later tonight. Okay, we'll connect tomorrow. Guys, are you still here? Okay. All right. So I'm closing the bridge. We'll see you at the same time tomorrow. Try joining in at least 5 minutes earlier so we can start exactly at 9 a.m. Okay.